Coming up on today's show, I want to recap some of the draft rumors out there for the Broncos as ESPN's Adam Schefter dropped a very juicy article this Monday morning about everything he is hearing going into the NFL draft. Now, before we begin today's episode officially, help me reach our goal before the NFL draft begins of 35,000 subscribers. We're 760 away. So if you haven't yet, scroll on down, do me and you a big favor, and lock yourself in for the best Broncos draft content out there. Now, here's what Schefter said that's making its rounds across Broncos Twitter and the internet. The Broncos have made inquiries about moving up in round one, according to sources, but there aren't many others. This always could change when players start falling and teams are on the clock. Now, what Schefter is saying is almost a complete 180 from what Benjamin Albright, who covers the team from KOA Radio, said about what to expect when it comes to Denver potentially trading their pick, saying the Broncos are not trading into the top 10/up for a running back. So he's not shooting down Albright, the idea of trading up for something, but it's not going to be a running back in Albright's estimation. Points out that Denver last year was comfortable staying put, letting Bo Nix fall to them, and that also no one is moving from the 20s into the top 10 this year without giving up a first this year and their first next year. So there's a couple of disagreements overall from a pure big picture standpoint from what Schefter is saying and what Albright is saying. I'm going to go with what Albright is saying, though, and it's what I've been saying for a while, too, and that is I don't expect Denver to trade up. As Schefter points out, if someone starts to fall like Ashton Genty, that could change things. But if things go somewhat as expected and the guys who are supposed to go top 10 go top 10 and the guys who are supposed to go around 10 to 15 go 10 to 15, I don't think the Broncos are going to be making a move up. So I will push back on what Schefter is saying and say if I had to pick what's more likely, Denver stays put at 20 or Denver jumps up, I'm going to say Denver stays put at number 20. Just looking at the NFL draft order here, let's peek at numbers 11 through 18 because that seems a much more realistic landing spot for them. If they are trading up for a running back, who are they afraid of taking a running back? The Cowboys at 12 could do it. But is Denver going to go from 20 to 11? The Bears did that exact same thing for Justin Fields when Denver took PS2, and that cost Chicago a future first and a third. Broncos giving that much for Omarion Hampton? I don't think so. Dolphins probably not going running back. Colts aren't. Falcons definitely aren't. Cardinals, I don't believe so. Bengals, maybe, but I think the Bengals go defense. They've invested so much in their offense in the offseason. Seattle's good at running back. Bucks like Bucky Irving. Where's the temptation for Denver to make a move up for a running back? What team ahead of them is going to take their guy? Now, behind you, sure, someone could jump up in front of you and take a guy. But you can't operate that way. Otherwise, every single draft, you're giving up picks to move up because you're afraid someone's going to sneak up from behind you and take your player. You got to have some level of confidence in your board to go, we like this player, but if that player's not there, we've got a good backup player in place. I don't like the idea of panic trade up and give up future picks and give up current draft picks just in case someone behind you comes up and takes your guy. Quarterback is one thing for how valuable that position is. Running back, I'm not making that move. So if the Broncos are interested in trading up and you're curious what it could cost, here's an idea of what the asking price would be for just a couple of picks between 10 and 20. I just based this off the NFL trade value chart. So if you want to go up to number 10 with the Chicago Bears, I think it's going to cost you a 2026 first-round pick and a little bit more. If you want to go to 12 with – who's picking 12? The 49ers at 11. Who is it? Dallas. Thank you, Dallas. Yeah. I think it's going to cost you your second-round pick this year and probably like a fourth or a fifth. You want to go to 15 with the Atlanta Falcons? We're looking at a third and maybe like a 6th or 7th round draft pick, right? You want to go to Seattle at 18, it's probably going to cost you around a 4th or a 5th. So this is just a rough idea. It's not an exact science, but it's to give you guys a starting point as to, hey, if Denver did want to trade up, like if you're watching the draft and I don't know, the guy you want is slipping and he's there at 15, you're like, Denver should jump up. What would it cost? What would it cost? I'd say a third and a day 3 pick, a third and a fifth, somewhere in that territory. So let me know if you think the Broncos should trade up. Give me a yes or give me a no. I don't. I don't think this draft class is so talented that you have to get up and get one of these blue chip players. I think the guy you're going to get at 15 is very similar to the guy you get at 25. I think you could poll different teams on who do you like more, this guy at 15 or this guy at 25. And it's not going to be a unanimous that player at 15. You'll find GMs to go, oh, we like that guy more at 25. Wow. You liked him more at 25, and you didn't have to give up anything to move up and get that player. So I say no. Now, this next part of the video is like PD's plan for Denver. So let's look at what I would estimate is Denver's plan. Sean Payton did not call me before the video and go, all right, get a pen and paper out and write this down. So here is, I think, Denver's strategy going into the draft. Plan A, get Omarion Hampton at pick number 20. This is a major. Don't overthink it. Go chalk. Go get the second best, third best running back, depending on who you ask, in this draft class, and solidify that running back room for hopefully a minimum of 6 years. You get 5 years on that rookie deal. You can slap on a franchise tag after that. You could do 2 franchise tags after that if you really wanted to, and lock down a workhorse back for the better part of a decade, right? Give Bo Nix an actual running back behind him that can help bring more out of that offense and alleviate a little bit of stress and pressure from Nix in year 2 as defensive coordinators get a full year of film on 10 and know what buttons to press to make Nix uncomfortable. So I would love for Denver to address the running back issue. I think Omarion Hampton's their guy, and I can very much get on board with this. You can look at the numbers, back-to-back seasons, averaging nearly 6 yards a pop and 15 touchdowns, especially in a season where a lot of teams thought, hey, with Drake May gone and everyone knows they want to give it to 28, how much more difficult will that become for him? And it turns out not all that difficult. Now you can see the receiving abilities are there as well. 38 grabs last year for the Tar Heels. He's not the number 1 receiving threat in this draft class, but I do think there's probably a little bit more to his game than we're giving him credit for. I think Travion Henderson from Ohio State is more of that dual threat receiving back that, and I hate myself for saying it even one more time. I'm not going to say the word, actually. It starts with a J and ends with the R, and you can fill in the rest. That probably fulfills that role a little bit more as a true receiving threat. But I still think Hampton is going to be somewhere kind of around like Nick Chubb to David Montgomery. And that's a high bar, but that's to give you an idea of the style of play he brings to the game. So if the Broncos don't go with Hampton in round 1 or he gets snagged before them, let's say the Cowboys take him at 12, Travion Henderson from Ohio State in day 2 would be the player I would recommend keeping an eye on. I think his production is doing him a disservice in the pre-draft process, and that's not his fault. He was in a split backfield with Quinshon Judkins, and it worked well for Ryan Day, right? It led them to a national championship game. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ryan Day was not here or not in Columbus last year to do Henderson's pre-draft stock any favors. I mean, he's still going to be a round 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the latest guy, but he did not give him a whole bunch of touches, which as a result did not give him a lot of opportunities to showcase himself compared to Hampton and Caleb Johnson, who got well over 200 carries. You can see Henderson is 50-plus short of that. So Travion is the guy I'd watch for in day 2 of the draft if Denver does not go running back in round 1. We've got more to get to on today's episode, but really quickly, our friends over at Game Time have an awesome deal for Broncos country. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, between you and me, the Rockies should probably be paying you to go to their games right now. But if you want to go to a Nuggets playoff game, you want to go to an Avs playoff game after what they did in Dallas the other night, check out Game Time. They've got last-minute deals as well. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So plan A, in my eyes, is get Omar in Hampton. Plan B, if Hampton's not there, is trade back. Now, it takes two to tango. And I won't say I get like a pet peeve out of this, but I do get a little frustrated when people just toss out, why don't you just trade back? Oh, I didn't know there was like a trade back supermarket where the Broncos can just go and say, we'd like your pick, you take ours, and that's the end of the negotiation. No, if no one calls for the pick number 20, you're not moving back. So I don't think there will be many calls for pick number 20. I don't think this is a draft class where people are dying to give up future assets to move up and get a player that's probably in the same tier or bucket or ranking as the guy they could have gotten where they originally were slated to pick. I mean, take a look at just the top 5 players in this draft. Stick with me for a second. Abdul Carter. He is, by a lot of people, the number 1 player in this draft class. For being the number 1 player in this draft class, he's got some major red flags for being the number 1 pick. He's got a stress fracture in his right foot. He's undersized by some people, and he's only played the position for 1 year. Like, usually when you're the unanimous number 1 pick or number 1 prospect, there is very little you can come up with for what is wrong with that guy. I just came up with 3 in 10 seconds. Travis Hunter could be an incredible player at the next level, but no one's even all that certain how well he can play both ways in the NFL. Mason Graham, he keeps going 5 to the Jags in every single mock draft. I don't think he would have gone top 10 in last year's draft. He's got short-ish arms, and he doesn't have an insane ceiling as a pass rusher for being an interior guy. And I'm not trying to say these guys are bad prospects, but I'm trying to say is it's not a very great draft class. So as a result, why is anyone going to trade up? All it takes is one team, and if one team's like, hey, because it's not a very good draft class, we'd rather have quality over quantity. We'd rather get our number 1 guy than get 2 or 3 average guys. And if I'm thinking of teams that could trade up, Schefter named 2, the Houston Texans. They have been very active under Nick Caserio as their GM. They've been wheeling and dealing the last couple of years. And if they want to go get one of the few good offensive tackles in this class, because there will be a run of tackles in round 1, because the day 2 tackle class stinks. So I could see the Texans giving up one of their 2/3 for pick 20, and Denver moving back 5 spots. I'll also toss out the Eagles. I feel obligated to say this because Howie Roseman has been trading so much in the draft the last couple of years. He's got a lot of draft capital over the next 2 years. He's got more draft capital than really vacancies on his roster. I don't think he can make all those picks. He's going to make picks that have no home for those players. So he might consolidate some of those picks to move up and go, hey, we're just going to go get our number 1 guy in round 1. And as a result, Denver could yield a future first, which I don't think Eagles fans are ever, any fan is really excited about giving up a future first. But if you're Philly, you're optimistic that first next year is pick 32. So ask yourself, if you were the Eagles, would you rather have pick 20 or pick 32 in back-to-back years? I'm thinking they take pick 20. And if you're Denver, you could look at it as, hey, the difference between 20 and 32, if our guy Hampton's not there, is marginal. And sure, next year it could be a late first, but it could be a mid-first. It's the NFL. It's the biggest parody professional sports league out there. So for the same caliber player that they're going to get at 20 and 32, why not go into next year's draft, which hopefully will be a bit better than this year's draft, and have 2 bullets in the chamber for round 1. Plan C for Denver. If you're unable to trade back, which I think is probably going to be the case, you stay put and you go best player available-ish. The BPA mentality has skyrocketed the last couple of years. I, as a minister of BPA, want to just tap the brakes because there has to be levels to it. You can't go best player available and select a quarterback when you got Bo Nix. So if Shedeur Sanders is the best player available at 20, you're obviously not going to take him. Same goes if the best player available is an offensive tackle. You just extended Garett Bolles. You gave Mike McGlinchey a 5-year contract. You're probably not going to go tackle, but he could be the best player available. So that's where the ish comes in. So let's say Denver can't get Hampton. He's gone. He was the number one guy. Or Loveland was the number one guy, whoever it might be. And those top 2 players are gone by 20. And no one wants their pick. I mean, you could look at, say, a Jahad Campbell. Probably weren't thinking linebacker. But if you want best player available, he could be that pick. Same goes for Matthew Golden. I think Denver's more confident in their receiver room than the general public gives him credit for. But that could be a BPA, just like Nicky Manwari or Malachi Starks. You signed Talanoa Hufanga, but if you want best player available, it could be one of those 2 players. Same goes for like an edge rusher. You've got the number 1 pass rush in football, but if you, again, I don't want to be a broken, record here, BPA, Michael Williams out of Georgia might be the pick. I would keep an eye on someone like Kenneth Grant. He's a 330-pound athletic freak on the defensive line. Or maybe a Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon, 2 guys that I've talked a lot about on the channel. Really good pass rush upside their final year in college. Nolan and Harmon both taking advantage of the transfer portal, starting off at different schools and ending with different Big Ten and SEC schools, but staying within the same conference. The ultimate BPA wild card, I think, would be Shamir Stewart. He is by far, pound for pound, the most athletic big man in this draft. 267 pounds, and he's got incredible speed and athleticism. The catch is very little production. 3 straight seasons in College Station when he only had 1.5 sacks. However, under the BPA umbrella, if he's there at 20, I could see the Broncos going, hey, we can't afford to extend everyone. We just gave Jones a 3-year contract. We're working on Zach Allen next. John Franklin Myers is going into a contract season. This could be his replacement. This could be someone we add to the defensive line, and we reset and go younger and cheaper and get an athletic freak that just needs a little bit of coaching and finishing skills to improve the sacks. But he does have Stewart that is a lot of pressures and a lot of good tape out there from his time with the Aggies. So, to wrap up today's video, name a random round 1 projected player. I don't know if you're as big of a draft junkie as I am, but I have consumed probably 500 mock drafts. So, no, just this year, a name we all expect to go round 1. I'm thinking right now. I got mine. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Emeka Buka. I think he's going to go somewhere in the 20s. I think his floor is the Texans at 25. That's going to sign off. Do it for us on today's video. We're going to sign off. But we will be back with a lot of content leading up to the draft. So make sure you subscribe, like the video too if you haven't yet.